Hey friends, Sleepy here, and welcome to the episode of the weekly playlist. It's Friday, so you guys know what that means. It's time for me to share with you guys the games I have been playing during the week. I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on the games I share with you. I would also love to hear what games you guys have been playing because that always gives me ideas on games to check out and play. And if you have a recommendation on a title you think I should check out, please let me know because you guys have always recommended wonderful titles, and I have a nice list growing of games for me to eventually either pick up or take the time to actually play through them. So I do appreciate any recommendations you guys give me. So we'll start off here. I got 3 games this week to share with you guys for a couple different consoles. First up, for Xbox One, I am continuing my progress on this, and that is the Mafia Definitive Edition, which this is an amazing game. If you were a fan of the original Mafia that was released on PS2 and the original Xbox, highly recommend you get the Definitive Edition, which is an HD remaster of the original game. I really like that there's a variety of difficulty settings. You can actually set it to the classic difficulty because those original PS2 and Xbox version of Mafia were very difficult games. They were not easy, and you can still have that same kind of difficulty and control scheme in this game by setting it to classic mode. Of course, they have your easy, normal, and hard modes and stuff like that. And the harder the difficulty is, the tougher the game is, and this game is already not very easy. Even on the easiest setting, I'm playing in the normal, the middle of the ground setting, and some of the fights in the game are difficult. But I really love the game. I love the story. So you play as Tommy Angelo, who's a cab driver who ends up getting thrust into the world of the mafia and the mob life and everything on one night. He gets thrust into the world and then he ends up liking it. The easy money, the women, the cars, the guns, everything about it. And then, of course, being in the mob life, you're going to invite trouble and problems and death and everything into your life. And that's what he does. And that's what this game does. It goes through the story of Tommy Angelo and his involvement in the mafia. And it goes over several years. And now this is a heavily story-focused game. It plays similar to like a Grand Theft Auto style game. However, it does not have all that open world aspect to it. It's a very linear game. You're going from story missions to the next story missions and going through the story. Now, there is a free roaming mode where you can roam around the cities and do your own stuff. There are a few little free roaming missions to do, but there's not a whole lot of side stuff to do in the game. However, I did see a video recently that they're actually updating this Mafia game. They're going to add a few things to the free roam mode, like taxi missions. So you'll actually be able to run around and do taxi missions in the game. And there's going to be a few other side stuff. So the developers are actually, adding some free updates to this game. And we're going to expand the free mode, which I think is amazing. And I think it's awesome. But I have had a blast with this game. I've gotten very far in it. So I'm getting closer to beating it. Another thing that I do like in this game is the voice acting is done very well. The people they chose for the characters, like they fit the character. Like you look at the person and you're like, yeah, that voice definitely would come out of that person's face. Like they match. And I looked at the voice actors and a lot of them looks very close and similar to the characters they play. So I like that. I love that detail that developers do when, they pick the right voice actor. Because I'm sure you guys have played games before where, you see some big guy and it has this real high pitched voice. You're like, yeah, there's no way that dude would have that kind of a voice. So I do love that they did that attention to detail in this game, and it's just fun. You have got to play the Mafia Definitive Edition, especially if you were a fan of the original Mafia game. Fantastic game. Just realize though that it's not going to be completely open world like a Grand Theft Auto game. If that's what you're looking for, that's not what you're going to get. But you will get a wonderful story, and it's definitely worth playing through more than once. There's also a lot of collectibles in this game to find. Sometimes there are story-based ones, and then there's other ones you can find in the world during the free roam, and I think there's like 170 some collectibles. So I'm working on getting that because I would like to 100% this game. Definitely check out Mafia Definitive Edition. Wonderful story to play through. And once I beat this, I'm definitely going to want to go into Mafia 2 and then finish beating Mafia 3. Fantastic trilogy. Definitely worth checking out. Next up for PS4, continuing my work on this game, and that is the SpiderMan game. Now, this is the Game of the Year edition, which has all the DLC. This is by far my favorite Spider-Man game I've ever played. It has the most content of any Spider-Man game I've ever played. The city is absolutely massive, all through New York City. I love that there's tons of side quests to do. You can stop random crimes, There's collectibles to find. You can take pictures of landmarks. There's different towers that have enemies you have to take out, and then there's other side stuff that you unlock as you progress further into the story. Which this game also has a wonderful story mode. Lots of classic Spider-Man villains in this game, and I'm absolutely loving it. The voice acting is done really well. The models look great, and the city, just has not looked better ever, except when this does get ported to the PS5, and I did see the enhanced upgrades. But even here, just on the PlayStation 4, I don't even have the Pro. I just have the regular PS4. The city looks amazing, and especially at nighttime. Like, I love city settings at night. Just something about the lights, the cars, the sounds, the people walking around, and everything. Like, fantastic. The graphics are just amazing on this, and I love it. I also like that this has different suits you can unlock for Spider-Man besides his classic one. They have a bunch of them from the comic books, they got from movies and TV shows, and some of the different suits can unlock different powers to make Spider-Man stronger. Because when you first start out this game, Spider-Man is pretty weak. Even the regular foot soldier enemies are tough, and it can pose a challenge for you early on in the game. But as you progress through the game, you start earning experience, and you can actually level up Spider-Man. So it does have RPG elements, which I love. And this has been a fantastic game. I've gotten pretty far in this game, and this is one that I'm actually working on 100% because I'm going through and getting all the collectibles and doing all the side stuff besides beating the game. And then I also have 3 wonderful DLCs to go through after I beat the main story, which is awesome. So I highly recommend getting the 3 DLCs because it'll vastly improve your experience and add more story for Spider-Man. But if you're a big fan of Spider-Man and you've never played Spider-Man on PS4, you have to get it because so many people recommended it to me, telling me, man, you got a PS4, get Spider-Man. You got to get Spider-Man. You'll love it. Trust me, just got to buy it. It's like one of the games of the year you got to have if you have a PlayStation 4, and they were not wrong. Fantastic game. You definitely need to pick up a copy of Spider-Man. Check it out. You will not be disappointed. And our last game I'm playing, an old game for the 360. It's like 10 years old now. I had originally played this years ago and then stopped playing it. So when I wanted to start it up again, I decided to restart the whole story because I forgot everything. And that is Deadly Premonition. Now, this has been re-released on Nintendo Switch recently. There was also a director's cut on PlayStation 3, but this is the original version that was released on Xbox 360 in 2010. This is a wonderful survival horror game. It has a cult following now because it got a lot of hate. It's really hard to describe how this game plays because it's kind of like Silent Hill mixed with a Shenmue, mixed with the Grand Theft Auto open world game. It's kind of like a bunch of genres mixed into one, and it just has that campy feel. A lot of people compare it to like a Twin Peaks vibe to it, which I love. The story's kind of odd and stuff. This game has fantastic music, especially the opening music on the title screen. I absolutely love that song to play. Sometimes I'll just let the title screen sit there, and so I can listen to the song that plays. It's wonderful. The voice acting in this game, I love. It's got that kind of campy feel to it. It's just great, and all the characters you run into this game are unique. Each one is different from the other person. The voice actors they chose for the characters, I think, are great. They fit the character's model. You see like a big rugged guy, like he has a rugged voice. If you see a guy that's kind of timid, he has kind of a timid voice, and I like that attention to detail that they did. This game is just awesome, and if you've never played it before, you have to experience for yourself. It's just hard to explain like how the game is. Now, some people, didn't like the game and kind of got hate on it, but I absolutely loved it as soon as I played it, and it's amazing. You have a main story that you go through that takes place through several days over the week, but there's also side missions. There's actually 50 side missions to do in this game besides the main story, which is awesome because doing those side missions can unlock extra weapons, unlock bonus items and stuff, and it also gives you more story and lore and the background of the characters you run into, and helps explain the story more because the story can be kind of confusing at times. But basically, so you play as Francis York Morgan, who is a FBI agent. You've been sent to this little small town of Greenvale to investigate the murder of this young girl named Anna. And throughout your adventure, you run into crazy stuff. There's these shadow people, which are shadow creatures that you run into, which are freaky, especially if you have like a headset on like I do, because you can hear them moaning and screaming. Now there are some funny things when you kill them, because sometimes the shadow people will say, "I don't wanna die," in a real like deep voice, and you're like, "Well, too bad, bitch, because you're dying. I'm beating your ass with this pipe or shooting you with this handgun." But it's just really good. There are some scary times in this game, especially it's when you get into the shadow world. The whole world changes. It gets real dark. The atmosphere is like dark setting. The music gets there, and you can know you're into the dark world, because then you start seeing how the world changes from being really light to being really dark. And then those shadow creatures show up. Now there's a variety of the different shadow creatures, which they look really disgusting. They look like they're hollowed inside, like if they were bleeding out black blood, like their eyes are black and hollow, their mouth you can see inside is all like black blood inside them. And sometimes, which is really freaky, is they bend over backwards and start coming at you, and you have to shoot them. And the best thing to do is to shoot them in the head. As you do that, you can kill them quicker, because you don't want them to get near you. Because if they get into you and catch you, they'll start choking you, or they'll stick their hand down your throat and like try to steal your soul from inside you. Like, it's just nuts. And then there's different varieties of them too, because some of them, you start with the regular ones, but some of them have weapons like shovels or pipes. But then you also run into some that have like shotguns and stuff, and you have to watch out because they can shoot you from a distance. And then there are other ones that just get stronger and have different abilities and stuff. But it's a really unique and fun survival horror game. And it's strange because sometimes there's like really happy-go-lucky music you'll be playing through the game, and then when you get to one of those underworld, shadow world parts, then the music gets really dark and creepy. But I've just absolutely been having a blast playing Deadly Premonition. Highly recommend you guys pick up a copy here for the 360. Play the original. Like I said, you can play the director's cut on the PS3, which they added some content to, and then I also have the Nintendo Switch version. But the original, for me, is personally the best, and you can actually play it on your Xbox One or Xbox One S or Xbox One X, which I'm playing on my Xbox One X, and it upscales the game, and the loading on Xbox One X is very fast. Like, the game loads really quick. I remember on the 360, sometimes I'd run into a few graphical glitches here and there, and sometimes the loading could get annoying. With the Xbox One X, all that loading issues are all gone because of the power of the Xbox One X, and it just looks beautiful. Such a fantastic game. Highly recommend you guys check it out. It's a unique game. It's got a cult following now, really. A lot of people hated it when it was first released. I had loved it, and I've met a lot of people who love it as much as I do, and I think it's worth you guys giving it a try. Now, I don't know what the prices are anymore. Thanks to the pandemic, a lot of things have skyrocketed. I have not seen one of these locally in a long time, but I remember it used to be about a $5 to $10 game. Currently, I'm not sure what it's going for, but definitely worth checking out this Deadly Premonition. It's really cool because you also get to investigate scenes. So, he's an investigator for the FBI, and you're trying to figure out who killed this Anna girl. And you get to go around the world and explore stuff. There is a in-game timer, which, it's a 24-hour clock. I'm not sure the exact amount of time that passes between minutes. It's obviously not a one-to-one with real life, but it does go pretty slowly because there's different missions that are only available at certain times. You can go to certain stores and certain homes only at certain times of the day or night when they're open. Like, a bar's not going to be open at 9 o'clock in the morning, example. And, the convenience store they have there isn't going to be open at 2 in the morning. So, there's a nice little timer there based. And then when you have certain missions, you have to get to them at a certain time. But before that, you can explore and do your own free roaming and do your own side missions and stuff that you want to unlock. And I do definitely recommend, if you want to get like everything done, you'll have to get one of the online guides for it, because the game is not going to tell you or hold your hand on how to get these side missions. You would have to try to figure it out on your own, and some of it would be really difficult. And there's no actual physical strategy guide, which I wish this game had. It definitely would have helped enhance it. But I've been using a wonderful online guide that has all the how to do the side missions and where to find them and stuff. And it's just been a wonderful experience. I also like that this game, you can actually replay different chapters, because the game is broke up through episodes and then through chapters spread out for the story. So if you miss something, you can always reload that chapter and play through it again and get something you might have missed. So you like horror games and you like a little weird, campy game that's got that kind of Twin Peaks feel, definitely get Deadly Premonition. Wonderful game. We'll do our quick little recap. We talked about Mafia Definitive Edition, wonderful remake of that classic PS2 and Xbox game. So awesome. The story is great. Now, it's not going to be open world like a Grand Theft Auto game, but there is a free roam mode you can do, and they are going to be updating that with some extra stuff, so who knows what other updates they might do to this game. Definitely pick up a copy. If you were a fan of that, you'll enjoy it. We talked about SpiderMan for PlayStation 4. This is my favorite Spider-Man game I've ever played. Wonderful game. You definitely need to play it. Has a lot of classic Spider-Man villains. It's got suits to unlock, RPG elements, side stuff to do. It's just a wonderful game. If you love Spider-Man, you'll definitely enjoy your time with it. And we talked about Deadly Premonition. Such a wonderful little classic survival horror game. Has a cult following now. It's just amazing. They actually have a second one out there on the Nintendo Switch, which I need to get, but I'll wait to buy that until I finally beat this game. And I do want 100% it. Lots of side missions to do. Has that kind of Twin Peaks vibe to it. It's kind of campy, but it's just a wonderful game that I think you should check out. So let me know your guys' thoughts on these 3 games. If you played them before, what you thought of them. I'd also like to hear what games you guys have been currently playing, and if you have any recommendations on a title that I should play, please let me know. I want to thank you guys for watching. Take care. You guys have a great day, and Sleepy will see you next time.